Today, I'm back with another review of a book series that I recently finished. This time, we were looking at The Inheritance Games. I finished reading the final book, The Final Gambit, a couple of weeks ago. Had a lot of fun with it, as I did with the rest of the series. So today, I'm gonna give you all of my spoiler-free thoughts. So in case you're unfamiliar with The Inheritance Games, I'll explain a little bit. The series follows Avery. She's about 16, 17 in the first book, and she's a regular down on her luck teenager at the beginning of the series. Her mom is dead and her dad's deadbeat. They're estranged, and she's just trying to make money so she can go to college after she graduates high school. But then Tobias Hawthorne, who's this super rich guy, dies, and she never knew him. But she's invited to go down to Hawthorne Estate, Hawthorne Manor, and when they're reading out the will, she learns that she gets almost everything, and she's quite confused, of course, as is basically everybody, and it ultimately leads to the mystery about what her connection with the Hawthorne family is and why Tobias specifically chose her to inherit almost everything. So, as I mentioned before, this is a mystery trilogy, and I thought that the mystery was very well done. I liked how Tobias Hawthorne, the man who died before the series really began, he was obsessed with puzzles and basically all the clues that lead up to, or at least most of the clues that lead up to the answers. They're very escape room-esque, and as somebody who really likes escape rooms, it was fun getting to go through the clues and kind of imagine what would I do in this situation? What do I think is the answer? How does this tie in? And of course, a good mystery is not a good mystery without a good plot twist. And I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but there were a lot of really great plot twists. I remember a couple times throughout, my jaw actually dropped because I was like, what? It's all connected now. And it definitely makes you want to reread the series, which I think is one of the big appeals I look for when I'm trying to figure out my favorite books, book series, or even just movies in general. It's how much do I want to rewatch it or revisit it, or do I want to revisit it? And I also think that the pace is really good. The chapters throughout are quite short. Let me see. So here's chapter 25, and then, yeah, it's only 3 chapters, and it definitely keeps you on your toes, and it helps move the action along. And I think it also helps you read it a little bit faster because you're about to go to bed, but then you see, it's just, the next chapter is just 2 pages, I'll read another. And then the chapter after that, just 3 or 4 pages, I'll read that one. And I love being addicted to a book, and I think a fast pace definitely helps. Now, moving on from the mystery aspect of the series, something else I think was rather well done was where the characters and the relationships with each other, especially the female friendships. This is a little bit of a romance series, I'll get to that later, but I think my favorite relationships were actually more friendship, familial based. So Avery's our main character, and she has an older half-sister, Libby, from one of her dad's earlier relationships. And even though their dad is not really present in their life, the sisters have a really great relationship with each other, and Libby comes down to be with Avery when she inherits the house, and you get to see how much this changes their lives. And I just really like Libby. And then arguably my favorite character, even though she's not necessarily one of the main characters, was Avery's friend Max. Max is she's a little bit she doesn't go down to be with Avery a whole lot, but she's kind of the straight woman in all of this, if you know, where she's reacting to all this. And weird little humor that I really love with her is her parents are like really religious, so they don't like want her to curse. So whenever she's talking to Avery and like she uses all these like alternate curse words. It's like, oh, facts or shiz. And as somebody who doesn't really like to curse either, tries to keep my language pretty clean, I related to that, even if I can imagine some people don't take to it as well. And I also enjoy getting to see like how Avery's relationship with the Hawthorne brothers, who are like the grandsons of Tobias Hawthorne, grows throughout it, both like with the main ones and the more supporting cast. And finally, the last thing I really want to talk about when it comes to things I love about the series is the hook. It's a relatively simple one where it's like, what if you're just a regular girl trying to become financially stable, get money, not have to worry about it anymore. You unexpectedly get a ridiculous fortune, billions of dollars, a grand house, all these charities, and you're all of a sudden overnight famous, and everybody wants to know you or get you out of the picture because they want your inheritance. And the whole setting of the house, I absolutely adore. You have all these places, and I definitely would love to go to a place like this someday, even if it's just for like a quick vacation, like a week-long vacation. Unfortunately, I would say that the series wasn't entirely perfect, so let's go on to my main critiques. Which, this first one actually kind of ties in with one of the things I love. So, the hook is amazing, but I do think that once you kind of get over the hook and Avery she's not completely comfortable by the time book 2 happens, but she's a little bit more used to the setting. So I think the series doesn't die after you get over the hook, but it does lose a little bit of the magic because you're like, this isn't new anymore, this is more of the same. It's like, oh yeah, we're in Hawthorne House again. And also I think the first book, the romance is there, but I think the romance becomes a little bit more prominent in the second two, and I didn't dislike the romance, but I was generally more interested in the mystery, figuring out like what is the connection Avery has with Tobias? Why did he choose her? Is he more tied to her family than he let on? I wasn't as invested with the whole like, is Avery gonna choose Grayson or Jameson? Especially because I think I was spoiled earlier on that, she was gonna be with Jameson rather than Grayson, so it might just be a Hunger Games effect where it's like, you already know who she's going to be with, so any questions about, this love triangle, if it even exists, aren't as exciting, and honestly, I might think that the love triangle came more from the fanon than the canon. I mean, I think she does have a little bit of a crush on Grayson at times, but for me, he never really felt like Endgame. And speaking of the name Jameson, my brother is named Jameson. So, reading a book where the main love interest is named Jameson, I mean, it is a different spelling and all, but it's like, it does mildly take me out the story, and that's probably just a me thing. To anybody who has siblings or cousins or people they see sort of as close family, is it ever weird when you read a book, watch a movie, and the main character's love interest shares the name of your sibling? Because that's how I felt a little bit at times. And then this one, mild spoilers, but I think this is kind of like the end of my critique, so feel free to skip ahead, but Sky, what were you thinking when you named your kids after their father's last names? That's just stupid. Anyway, despite my critiques of the series, I really loved it. I had a great time. It's definitely a series I look forward to rereading, and I'm excited to see what the spin-offs are. I don't know how many of them I'm gonna see, but I'm interested in seeing where they go. So, if you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. I'm Louisa Hammond. I'll see you next time. Oh, and also, I don't ship Xander with Avery, but he's the best Hawthorne brother, and I liked his relationship with Max.